Today, we are tier ranking every single head coach in the NFL. The ball is on the 25, and it is 1st and 10. Welcome back to the show today, guys. As I just mentioned, we're ranking every single coach in the NFL and assigning him to one of these 6 tiers we have. Metro, you ready to go today?
100%. We are so back. Let's hop into it.
Here we have our beautiful tier list. Metro, let me explain to the audience what each one of these tiers means. First off, at the very top, untouchable. This is like, I don't want to give any spoilers, but like the Andy Reids. Picking up what I'm saying, he's the first one here, so not spoiling too much. Next up, program builders. While they may not be calling every single play, they are instrumental to the building and building that NFL program for the long-term winning advantage. And then finally, or third, we have our above-average group. These guys are definitely moving the needle and not in any kind of hot seat, but they are well-contributing head coaches. Next up, we have first-time head coaches. We can't rank you if it's year 1. Okay, that's only fair. We can't put that kind of pressure on you. Questionable. Not hot seat yet, correct, but we do have some questions on their overall ability to do this. And then finally, may I take your order? Whether that's Arby's, Chick-fil-A, with a nice my pleasure. These guys are on the hot seat, and maybe they're not bad coaches, but the flames are roaring for sure. Metro, anything you want to say today before we dive straight into this tier list?
What's your favorite fast food place? Chick-fil-A? I'm a Chick-fil-A guy.
Fantastic question. Chick-fil-A is so consistent, so I have to go with that. But if I have to go like off the cuff, do you have one that's like not, you know what I mean? I feel basic saying that, but it's just the best. Do you have like a sleeper, baby?
Ooh, a sleeper fast food place? Mm-hmm. Can never go wrong with like Sonic. Like if you're just looking for a drink, wouldn't it be crazy if you're just going to a Sonic drive-thru and Brian Dable just pops up? It's like, wait a second, I know you,
bro. I don't mean to be mean, but like by the way, buddy's shapes, I think we're tracking. Absolute fat joke right there. But my bad, Brian. You're a much better man than me. But with that being said, let's kick this off right, and we're gonna give a nice layup to ourselves here to start this. Andy Reid, Metro. I don't think we have to argue on this. We're definitely north of above average. Which one do you want to go with?
Well, if we're talking about fast food, I think Andy Reid's the guy that loves fast food the most. He literally is a meme for liking burgers. So it's between may I take your order or untouchable. May I take your order is if he decides to retire and then work at Burger King. But he's untouchable. I mean, he's, I think, arguably a top 10 to top 5 coach all time. And he's coming off the back of a Super Bowl appearance, has won multiple championships, has done it for multiple teams. He's incredible, and I think he's untouchable, at least in my books.
I would meet right him as well, but you got this pretty much in the bag. He's going to be our probably number 1 overall coach, potentially. We'll see how this goes. Next up, we have Ben Johnson. And tell me if I get something wrong, because I can't always decipher. I know these coaches, what they look like when they're angry. When they smile, that's not typically how I see them. So help me out, Metro, in case I'm wrong. Ben Johnson, first-time head coach.
First-time head coach.
Go ahead.
Well, first-time head coach, I think he's a fantastic coach, and I think he has a bright future ahead for him as a play caller. My expectations for him in his rookie season, as a head coach, of course, get the Bears to at least 500 plus. Get them potentially to 10, 9 wins. I think that would be a great year, and if he gets to that point, I would put him above average to potential program builder. So I know you're a Lions fan. I know you know Ben Johnson firsthand. You're going to feel the effects of no Ben Johnson this year, but I know you probably hated the fact he went to the Chicago Bears.
Pain. But, like, you can see it kind of coming. Like, he says no to Washington and then waits for Caleb Williams. You know what? I'm happy for the guy. He's going to do well.
Well, it was weird. When I was coming into the process of kind of predicting where the coaches would go, I never actually thought he would go to Chicago. And maybe it was just because I bought too much into the Detroit Lions culture and not wanting to, go to the rival. I always thought the Bears were off limits for him. And then he goes to the Chicago Bears, and I was like, oh, that's ballsy of you. And don't show up to Detroit, because they ain't gonna like you no more, dude.
No, well said, man. I will say I was one of the few that was like, if he said no to these 4 teams, what the hell is he waiting for, right?
True.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like look at all the young quarterbacks, and I think Caleb Williams is one of the most enticing for sure. So
Yeah,
that's just
for
kind of
sure.
where I stood. But it's like you said, it's like what is the doomsday scenario, and that's exactly what we got as a Lions fan. But it's okay, man.
Pain.
I hope he does well. I'm not like bad blood. He brought our team from nothing to the top as well. So shout out to him.
No, you're better
Next
than me.
up,
I was cursing Dan Quinn when he went to Washington. So I'm in the same boat as you. I'm in the same exact boat.
I hope this is where it's like you wish your ex the best, but I hope they don't have the success that Washington
I
did
hope you don't
last
date
year.
a millionaire. Okay. I hope you're successful. Don't date the millionaire though.
Right there.
Brian Callahan.
Thank you very much. Brian Callahan, what are our thoughts here? He's a first, and he's a second now because he.
Well,
coached
he's
last
into
year.
his second year. His
That's
first year, though, I mean,
Rough.
not what you would want. I mean, first overall pick. I guess. I mean, I think Titans fans are actually okay with what happened last year. They're like, we got the first overall pick. We got our quarterback of the future. I was never high on him as a potential head coach. I thought he was a fine coordinator, especially for Cincinnati. I guess I'd put him in questionable right now. I don't think you saw anything in his rookie season as a coach that would, elevate him to above average or a program builder. Of course, we're wishing the best for him, and hopefully he becomes that. But for now, I'd probably say questionable.
I'm right there with you, man. Like it's year one. Even Dan Campbell in year one was like 2-15, something
Yes.
nasty. And that's what we got Aiden. So questionable's a good spot for him. You want to keep him there? Or you want to move him out?
Yeah, questionable works.
Cool. Brian Dable. This is an absolute wild card. And Metro, can I rant here for like 20 seconds?
Feel free. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
probably going to agree with you a lot here.
Okay. This is a head coach that, like, you look back at history and you're like, what works for teams? Smart, offensive-minded guys. I think he's a good leader. I think he's insanely smart. He's from the Nick Saban tree. He hits up Nick Saban if you all watch Hard Knocks in the offseason. And he's calling up Saban to say, who's a problem? Brock Bowers and Malik Neighbors. They draft Malik Neighbors. I think he's got all the tools. Just why aren't we seeing production? The offense ranked really low last year. Yes, he had some rough quarterback woes, but it's not happening. It's not being put together. But my heart believes he's here, but it's just not happening. So, but what do you go with at the end of the day? Do you go with the record or do you go with your bias? So, Metro, what are your thoughts? Because I can go any way right here for Brian.
I agree with you. I think he's an above-average head coach. I thought what he did that year in, I think, 2022 when they made the playoffs was like miracle work, what he was doing. I mean, him and Saquon just kind of hard carried that offense. I think you have to put him in May I Take Your Order because, I mean, he's probably going to get fired. Like, let's just be honest.
Not
Which
funny,
is a shame because I really but I really do believe that he is a good, solid head coach that, man, you give him a quarterback, you give him some pieces to work with. This Giants team, like, it's talented this year, but, again, there's the question marks with the quarterback, even though they sort of addressed it with Jackson and Jameis and Russell. I just don't know if it's going to be enough, especially with the timing of it, because they have to win now, and I don't think they're quite yet ready to do so. It's a shame that he's had to deal with Daniel Jones and Drew Lock and all those Tommy DeVito, which is just, it's so funny. Like, they were so desperate for a quarterback that Tommy Cutlets was getting starts, and people wanted him to be the guy. I mean, that's how bad their quarterback room was. So I think you have to put him in May I Take Your Order, though, because he's probably going to get fired at some point next year if they don't win a handful of games.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better, man. This schedule for the Giants is the most diabolical thing I've seen in my life. I don't know how. Like, they got better as a team, right? I'd say they're like one of the 10 best teams that got better. Not like in the league, but improvement over season, correct?
100%.
But with the schedule, this guy's cooked. I feel so bad. I hope he goes to a good team and lands somewhere good. He'll probably go be like the Ohio State coordinator, offensive coordinator for a year, and just bounce back immediately. Yeah,
they
something
have
real nice.
They have Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, L.A., Chargers, Philly, Denver, Philly, the Niners, the Bears. I mean, this is the Packers, the Lions. I mean, this is a gauntlet. They're literally facing every single contender not named like Baltimore and Buffalo. Like, this is just, I mean, that team is talented and they'll win some games. But, I mean, with a better schedule, that's an 8 to 9 win team. That's probably going to win like 3. So
That's right.
I feel bad for Dable. He's going to have to do some crazy things next year to keep his job. But, yeah, like you mentioned, I think there'll be a lot of programs, both college and NFL, that will gladly bring in Brian Dable to be an OC, probably not a head coach right away, but to be an OC and let him cook there.
Heck yeah. Brian, wishing you the best. Godspeed, brother. Next up, I see
Shotty.
I'm messing. What'd you say?
That's Brian Schottenheimer, my Dallas Cowboys head coach.
This is your boy. That's why you knew.
my
I was
guy.
like, who the hell is Tingus Pingus? All right, where are you putting Tingus Pingus at, buddy?
I think you have to put him at first-time head coach. Frankly, I'm not. I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I've never loved the hire. I will admit I've loved everything he said this offseason because I think he's saying the right things. I think he's doing the right things. But when it comes down to it, you got to put the play on the field, and I think this is a talented Cowboys team. There's a lot of pressure on them. So we'll wait and see. I'm not feeling great about it, but that's the decision they decided to go with, and Dak supports it. So I guess we'll see whether it works or not.
Awesome. Well, we have to put him here. If you had to rank him outside of that, where's he going?
Questionable right now. The whole process was questionable. The decision to hire him was questionable, but we'll wait and see.
Cool. Next up, we have Dan Campbell. Has to be the number one overall coach. All jokes.
Whoa.
But I do think he's at least a program builder. I don't think he's untouchable because you have guys like Andy Reid that call their own plays. And that's no diss to Dan Campbell, but he's a culture instiller. And if it's fourth down, he doesn't have the playbook in his hand and is micing up Jared Goff. So where do you think our man Dan should go?
I think he's the definition of program builder. Like, he knows how to get a culture right. He knows how to get a team right, how to get them motivated. I think when it comes from a schematic standpoint to being a play caller, I think he's willing to let like a Ben Johnson or an Aaron Glenn do that part of the job. I do think he can do that job. I wouldn't want him to. I'd prefer Ben Johnson to do it, but I think he's done a heck of a job. I think he deserves a crap ton of credit. I think the Lions will be fine next year with even the losses of their OC and DC. I think Dan Campbell's great. Wouldn't call him untouchable. I think if he has a good year this year, though, with a new OC and a new DC and a new center, I think then you start to talk about potentially untouchable. But until then, he's quite literally the definition of the best program builder out there right now.
1,000% true, brother. I have nothing else to say. You ready to go to Dan Quinn?
Yes, Dan Quinn. What a awesome year he had last year.
Yeah, man. Dan Quinn. Let's look back at his journey. He's the DC of the Legion of Boom, right? He goes to the Atlanta Falcons as the head coach there. The defense is treacherous, terrible. Is this guy a defensive-minded head coach? What the hell is going on? He gets fired, goes to the Cowboys to be the DC, has one of the best defenses in the league for, I don't know, what was it, like a 4-year stretch? A good amount of time. Yeah. And then now he bounces out and he goes to their rival, the Commanders, and just instant success. This guy's been a fantastic head coach. But how high do we rank him is the question, because it's been pretty quick he's had success, but it hasn't been sustained over time.
Well, I think he has a proven track record for being a coordinator, having the success with Atlanta for a few years. I would probably put him towards the back end of program builder, like fringe above average program builder. I mean, the things he did with that Commanders team last year, of course, Daniels was the biggest reason for their success, but Dan Quinn was also right there getting things done too. So I'm willing to give him some credit. I'll put him probably in the backup program builder.
Cool. I'll do that. And, of course, if we rank these out and we're like, hey, we have like 15 program builders, we could sort it back out. But I like that.
Yes.
We'll put him right here in the back. Next, Aaron Glenn, the Lions DC going to the Jets. He will be a first-time head coach, so he will go there in our tier. And, Metro, what are your expectations for Aaron Glenn and the Jets in year one? Give me a record and an explanation. Putting you on the hot seat.
I think he'll be fine. I loved him as a defensive coordinator. I am somebody who believes that certain people are best suited as coordinators and not head coaches, and I kind of think Aaron Glenn is better suited as a D coordinator just because of the way that he coaches and stuff. I think he's a great leader, though. He'll build that culture nicely in the Jets. I'm not expecting the Jets to be very good next year. I think there's a lot of things going against them, but I also like the direction they're heading. So I'm going to say 8 wins next year, which I think will be pretty solid. And then, we'll see what happens at the quarterback position, which has been the question mark for the Jets for my whole life, basically.
That just speaks to the endless sadness for poor Jets fans. Let's move over to a once-upon-a-time happier franchise, the Carolina Panthers, and Mr. Canales as the head coach. This will be year 3 for him. He's had Bryce Young for 2 of them. Absolute bounce-back year for Bryce. And,
year 2.
Year 2?
Year 2, yeah. The first year was
That's right. He came in to fix him.
who was the coach the year before? It was the former Colts head coach. I can't remember his name.
Reich?
Frank Reich. Yes, Frank Reich.
Yeah.
That did not go well. He came in last year. I mean, it felt like 2 seasons because the first half was so unbelievably terrible, and the second half it was like, holy shit, Bryce Young is back to being Bama Bryce. This is, I think, one of the tougher guys to actually rank here, to be honest with you.
Totally. Because I think he looked good. Like you said, 2 seasons in the past year, which sounds dumb, but it's just the truth. He felt above average with the turnaround. So do we give him the momentum swing like we kind of did with Dan Quinn, or do we throw him in questionable because technically there are a good amount of questions?
Yeah, first half, if you were to ask me at the first half of the season, he'd probably be in questionable to may I take your order. But that second half, he got things kind of turned around, and I actually really liked the hire, the initial when he got hired to be the Carolina Panthers head coach because of the way he did things over there with all those different quarterbacks. With Geno, he did it with, I think, Baker as well. And then going to Bryce Young, and it was like, hey, cook with Bryce, and it worked, I guess. I mean, especially in the second half. I'm willing to hedge my bet here that he'll be an above-average head coach heading into next year. So I would put him in, he'd be towards the bottom of above average, but he would be in my above-average range.
Okay, sweet. Let's put him here. And like I said, if we want to go back, we always can. Dave Canales, welcome, buddy. You're in the top 3 tiers. Next up, D'Amico Ryans, the head coach of the Texans. It's been a weird run for the Texans. Obviously, you got your quarterback in Coleridge Stroud. This guy's been phenomenal, and they're playing amazing defense. So for what he knows, he does a great job and also is building a pretty damn good program as well. They kicked out their left tackle, Tunsil, because he's not a bad piece of the locker room is the best way to say it, but not being a very good leader. So good leadership, good on defense. Where would you rank him? He's at least above average, but how high would you put D'Amico Ryans?
I'd probably put him in program builder. He reminds me in a lot of ways is like a similar guy to Dan Quinn, but a little bit less experienced as a head coach and maybe a bit more fiery of a personality. But I think he's been really good for Houston. He's turned around a franchise that, I mean, for years was really bad. And, a couple bad years after the Deshaun Watson era, D'Amico steps in and drafts Coleridge, Bernard Stroud, and Will Anderson, and all of a sudden that team is, I wouldn't say they're a contender, but they're in the conversations at the bare minimum, which is, it's a good place to be at because there's a lot of room to grow. So I'll put him in program builder. I think the question for me is he above Dan Quinn? Is he behind him? I don't really know.
I'll give a vote for in front of Dan Quinn just because we have more years and a bigger sample size.
That's fine. That works for me.
You cool with that? Approved by Metro. In front of Dan Campbell. No, but let's put him right here in the middle. There's an argument.
Did the Lions make the NFC Championship game in 23? I think they did, right?
They made it 23. You're right.
Okay. Yeah. No. Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell has gone farther technically. Next up, we got Jim Harbaugh. Once at Michigan, now at the LA Chargers for the past year and a half. This will be going on his second year with the program. If you look at history, he's at least got to be a program builder. Are you going to rate him any differently personally, Metro, because he just got back to the NFL, or what are your thoughts?
Well, as a fan of college football, I was not a fan of the Spygate stuff, of him cheating his way to a Michigan natty. I'm kidding. That team was fucking ridiculous. Program builder, I think he's an awesome, I love Harbaugh. Everything that he says, the way his personality is, I think he's so funny. And I just think he's the perfect guy to put next to a Herbert, to put in an LA Chargers building. I mean, is such a home run hit, and I'm a big fan of what he's done in just that quick 1 year turning that team around into a playoff team. And I mean, you can make the argument that they're a top 10 team heading into next year, and I think Harbaugh is a big reason why.
Well said, man. I am big on the Chargers this year. I'm thinking top 5 Metro. Yeah, I said it, Chargers fans. I know you guys have been through a lot of sadness as well. Do we put him above Dan Campbell? I think he's earned the right just because of his tenure in the league and in college.
That's a really good question. Above Dan Campbell, I mean, he's never won a title in the NFL, but neither is Dan.
This is true. Different sample size.
I think I would give the edge to Dan Campbell, in my personal opinion. Now, this conversation can be revisited by week 4 next year. The Lions start off 1-3, and the Chargers are 4-0. It's like, all right, yep, now we know. So it's close, but I would give, at least my personal vote would go towards Dan Campbell in front. But I mean, I'm fine either way, honestly.
I'm a Lions fan and I'm a Michigan State fan, so I'm right there with you. Let's put Jim right behind Dan Campbell. Massive respect for him, but right now Dan has the edge with the recency bias. John Harbaugh. Oh, man. We got to at least talk in program builders or potentially even untouchable. Remind me, Metro, I don't think he's calling a lot of plays, but he's just an awesome leadership presence in that building. Does he call any plays on this team?
Yeah, he does. He does a lot of things to this team. I mean, you're not a coach on a team for, I think, 10-plus years now if you're not doing at least some play calling. Like, I don't think he's calling every play, but I think he's at least a part of that, deciding room. To me, this is interesting because I think there's an argument to be made here that if the Ravens have a disappointing year, you could start to, that seat might be warming up. And this is kind of crazy to say when you look at his resume, where he's been the coach for several years. His head coaching regular season record is 172-104, former Super Bowl champion, former coach of the year. I mean, you would think that he would be as safe as they come, but that Ravens team these past 4 years where they've been so good but never been able to get over the hump has kind of put his job to question. I still would put him in program builder. I think I'd put him in front of both D'Amico and Dan. But one more bad playoff run, I think there's a lot of, questions that start to pop up.
Gotcha. Kind of like a Ryan Day situation where they keep losing to Michigan and they're like, we're going to fire you. And then he wins the national championship. It's like, you know what? We're actually good. We're good. We're good.
I think Ryan Day is a really good description. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I'd put him right behind Campbell, in between Harbaugh and Campbell right now. But, again, it's one of those things. Hey, man, you lose in the wild card. Oh, man, you're unquestionable now. So some volatility with this one for sure.
It's a good breakdown. I'm actually going to poll, if you're okay with it. I'm going to poll to put John in front of Dan just because this dude's done it since before I was born, and he continues to succeed. And he's been through 2 quarterbacks now, and it just keeps working. Yeah,
he's been a head coach when I was 6 years old. So...
My God.
And for reference, I just turned 23, so he's been in the league for some time now.
Cool. Let's throw him at the very front of program builders and go on to our next coach. It's going to be Gannon, correct? The Cardinals head coach, and the defense has looked better, but not elite yet as a group. He seems to be a decent head coach, but the truth is I don't know. That's the whole point of this rant I'm having right now. Metro, where do you land with Gannon? This is a really interesting conversation.
I think I would put him in front of Canales in above average. This is a Cardinals team that every single year has gotten better with him. Granted, very small sample size of 2 years, but last year they were a very competitive team that won a handful of games. The year prior, kind of the same vibe, just weren't winning as many. I think you saw progress last year. And as we head towards the next year, I'm in 2025, I'm kind of like Canales, I'm willing to hedge my bet on him being more successful and taking that next step. I think the Cardinals are super talented, and I think if next year that team is good, you can make a strong argument for him to be a legit program builder. But for now, I'd put him in above average for now.
Cool. I'm going to put him right there with your spot as well, right in front of Dave Canales. Next, we have first-time head coach Kellen Moore, correct, for the Saints?
Yes.
Cool. Right here. Go ahead.
I don't really know if my expectations are too high for him, especially in his rookie year as a head coach. He puts up good numbers. He did a lot of great things for Philly last year. He's the definition of a guy to me that's best suited as a coordinator and not as a head coach, at least right now. But hopefully I'm wrong. Well, hopefully I'm not wrong. I don't want him to win because I don't like the Saints. Not a fan. Sorry, Kellen.
Boo, Saints. Godspeed, Kellen. We're praying on your downfall. Next up, this is Kevin O'Connell, correct?
Yes, Kevin O'Connell.
Man, one of the smartest head coaches in all of football, great offensive mind, and they just win games, man. Where do we rank him? He's definitely program builder up for me, unless you feel differently. But how high does he go?
I'm also with you. Only thing that he has to prove to me before I start to, give him some more praise is he's got to win some playoff games. This team has been talented enough. They should at least be in the second round almost every year. I'm excited for this team, though. They're a damn good team, like so much talent. And I think you got to give credit to Kevin O'Connell as well as their general manager, and I think they've done a fantastic job. To me, I don't think he's anywhere close to being fired. So maybe you can make the argument he's even as high as untouchable, but that's just because I don't think anybody's going to, I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. But I would put him in program builder. I would put him, I'd put him right behind Dan Campbell, frankly. He just had to win some playoff games, frankly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There is an expiration date here. Like, he is pretty untouchable, but hey, we go like, say JJ doesn't work out, right? Mr. McCarthy. Mm-hmm. Now we have some questions. You go on to the next quarterback and that doesn't work out great. I think he's pretty much out the building, but we're talking like 5 years down the road right now. But for today, he's holding a spot firmly right behind Dan Campbell and in front of Jim Harbaugh. Maybe disrespectful to Jim, but in coaching, all they care about is what did you do last year and maybe the year before. Next up, Kevin Stefanski, a really, really interesting ranking here. The Browns head coach, and as we know, the Browns aren't a very good team, but Kevin seems to be very smart. If you've seen Hard Knocks last year, where you had the AFC North heading into their back half of the season, Kevin found ways to make these Browns players not hate their life, which, guys, when you are in a 18-week season, that is hard to do. For example, he showed a play where Jameis threw a pick six, and he said, hey, guys, player 1, 2, and 3, you're all hitting your top speeds this season on a pick six. What does that show? It shows that you guys care. Little dumb stuff like that goes a long way when it's week 15 and everybody's sad and pissed off because you're a losing team. Now, I'm done ranting here, but Metro, where the hell are we going to rank this guy? Because I don't know if it's may I take your order, but we're leaning questionable, but I think he's a smart guy.
It's the Brian Daboll conversation all over again. Good coach, shitty situation, terrible quarterback room. It's like bar for bar, Brian Daboll. Basically, you can just say the exact same thing, change a couple details. I mean, this is a guy who led the Browns to the playoffs, I think, 2 years ago? I think he won Coach of the Year. Don't quote me on that, but I think he did. I mean, he's been fantastic. And unfortunately, I think he's in may I take your order. I don't think the Browns will be good next year. I think Browns fans will probably be a little frustrated with the team direction and where things are kind of going. And I could see a world where he gets fired. Although, frankly, I think he's an above-average head coach. And I think if the Browns were to fire him, I think that would be a massive mistake. It's just, again, it's the Brian Daboll conversation. He'll get a job somewhere else, and he'll probably be a head coach for another team, and he'll win 15 Super Bowls. So that's where I think about him.
Cool. Then let's throw him here in may I take your order. Like we just mentioned, we think they're really good coaches. Just, is he lower than Daboll? Sorry. Just cut myself off.
No, I'd give Stefanski the rub there. He's had way worse teams than, well, no, they both had bad teams. But, has Stefanski won a playoff game? I know Daboll did.
Sniff, snap. I believe he has. I thought he won like a year and some change ago.
Was he the guy?
He feels safer than Brian. We know Brian's in big trouble.
Yeah, he does. You're right. He does. He feels a bit more safe. Even if they have a bad year next year, I could still see the front office being like, just give him one more year. Give him one more. So, whereas for Daboll, nah, buddy, you're cooked. You're cooked.
Get the skillet out, buddy. You are absolutely cooked. Smart, but cooked. Because, if you're one of these two teams, right, we fire our really smart head coach, you're fifth in the pecking order for the next year to get the next prospect, right? I'm talking about for the next head coach. You're getting somebody that's not your first option because people rather go to other situations first because they're like, if that guy can't do it, how the hell am I going to? So enough on our man Kevin, but we're going to put him here in may I take your order. Duval, we got Liam Cohen. Is that correct, right? I can just tell by the beautiful eyes, beautiful nose, and devious smile. First time or second time? I forget. He's first time. He just got hired. He had that whole controversy, right? He was on Tampa Bay, and they're like, and he's like, I quit. And they're like, what are you talking about? You work tomorrow? And I don't know what the hell happened, but it was a situation.
Yeah, bizarre
first-time
situation.
Head coach. Yeah. Where do you think he lands, though, in year one?
I think Jacksonville can be pretty underrated next year. I think he's really an awesome offensive mind. It just kind of can he translate to being a head coach? I have, of all the first-time head coaches, him and Ben Johnson, I have the most expectations for. So I would, I'd feel pretty good about it if I was Jacksonville.
Period. Great analysis. Ooh, who is this? This guy bumped? No, this is Shanahan, man. This guy's fantastic. The head coach of the 49ers. Metro, he's got to be program builder, if not untouchable for me personally. You talk about smart, good-witted program builder. By that I mean a leader within the building. And he makes undrafted running backs look like Christian fucking McCaffrey some weeks. He's so smart with the way he runs his offense. Where would you like to put him here in these tiers?
He's another one of these coaches that has had success in the past and one bad year and everyone's freaking out and, calling for his job, which I
That's
just
insane.
think is crazy. Like when you go to a Super Bowl, win or lose, that you're one of the best teams in the country or in the league, I should say. And then you have a year where you don't win 10 games, you miss the playoffs after every single player tears their ACL. And it's like, oh, sorry, buddy, you're terrible. We're going to fire you. It's insane. I feel for these coaches because you can be the best coach in the league and then one bad season, and next thing you know, they want your head chopped off. And that's exactly what's happening with Kyle Shanahan. I would put him in program builder. Last year was not a pretty year. And you don't see that from Andy Reid. Reid never has a bad year with the Chiefs, at least. So I'd put him in program builder. Question is he like top of program builder or back of it because of all the questions with him? That's to be determined.
I think I'm going to give you that answer for me personally. I think he's at the very top in my eyes. But if you said people were calling for his job last year, maybe he's lower than John Harbaugh because Harbaugh seems super safe.
Well, it's the same thing with John Harbaugh. Like, people, this guy Harbaugh has made the playoffs like every year, and they're like, "Well, you haven't won the big game." It's like, dude, it's fucking hard, man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a complete coin toss like 100 times. The odds are just stupid low.
I feel good about putting him in front or behind Harbaugh. I feel good either way.
Okay, I will place him behind Harbaugh just because I think this year, I'm weird this way. I think this year the 49ers take another step back. That's just me, though. Nothing drastic, but like 7 wins, not what they're used to in their division. Next we have, is that LaFleur? What you doing, LaFleur? We got the Green Bay head coach. I think he's one of the more smart coaches in the NFL, but he's not moving the needle like a guy like Andy Reid. Somewhere in these 3 tiers, where are your thoughts at, Mr. Metro?
I like Matt LaFleur. He's a very smart guy. He's been in the league now for, 5-6 years? So he's been one of the longer tenured coaches. He's been successful. He's made some playoff runs. I don't think that Packers team has been good enough, though, for him to make a huge jump. But I think he's a good coach. I would put him in program builder, and I would have him probably right there with Kevin O'Connell, kind of right in that middle range. I mean, he's done a great job. He's a great play caller. And he's done a nice job of building that team. It's just they've always been like 2 pieces away for me before they can be called like serious contenders, and that kind of it feels that way this year too. And I'm not sure if that's a LaFleur problem or if that's a ownership problem. I don't know, but they're so close. It's frustrating because it's like, dude, you can take the step, but they just haven't taken it yet.
Well said, man. I'm going to put him right here behind Kevin just because, by the way, the NFC North is brutal. We got Dan, we got Kevin, we got LaFleur, and then supposed to be the smartest coach of them all, Ben Johnson rolling in, but somebody has to lose. Whoever rebounds one of these coaches is going to be absolutely spoiled. But we're going to put LaFleur right here, right in between Kevin O'Connell, if you're aligned and in front of Jim Harbaugh.
Yes, that's probably exactly where I'd put him at.
Okay, actually, you know what? I can't lie. I can't put Jim Harbaugh behind him in good conscience. I'm good. You getting to flip these 2? Is that okay with you?
I would. I mean,
argue with me. Fight me, Metro. Come on.
My whole thing is things that happened 8 years ago. I don't really care at this stage.
Okay.
But the game is so different nowadays. Now Harbaugh he's a classic. He's a timeless piece. He evolves so well. I personally am a big fan of his style of offense. Big boy offensive lineman, run it down your throat. Amari Hampton, Najee Harris. What they need to get is like a good old classic fullback with a neck roll. Put him in the I formation, just have him blow some heads off. Like if you got Kyle Juszczyk, I think they could legitimately pull some magic. Not sure where that conversation. I know that'd be disgusting. I would lean LaFleur just because he's done more lately. Whereas for Harbaugh, maybe it's an unfair argument, but he's, in the 2020s, he's only been a head coach for 1 year, whereas for LaFleur, he's been the head coach every year in the 2020s. So, with that said, by week 4, Harbaugh could be 4-0, LaFleur could be 2-2, and all of a sudden they're flipped. So,
Okay. I like the argument. I'm right there with you.
2 straight Mikes.
Why is it not ringing a bell?
Mike McDonald.
Thank you very much, Mike McDonald. Oh, man, I'm going to get eaten up by Seattle fans. I'm sorry, Seattle. We love you, Seahawk fans. Mike McDonald is a very, very smart coach, defensive-minded. He was the Baltimore D coordinator, correct? Is that where he was before this?
Well, I think he was a Michigan guy, and then he went to Baltimore, was the DC there last year, or the year prior to last year. Was incredible, and then last year was the Seattle head coach, and I thought he did a fine job given the pieces that he had to work with. So I would put him in above average, kind of in a similar vein to Dave Canales in a lot of ways.
I agree, man. Does he go above Gannon, below Gannon in his own division, or maybe even below Dave Canales? What are we thinking here?
I'm thinking middle, and I'm saying that because I think Gannon's team is ready for a playoff run, whereas I think Seattle's like really close. But it's sort of like, let's wait and see for now. Right? But I feel more confident in Arizona than I do in Seattle. So I'm willing to hedge my bet on Gannon being slightly better than them next year.
Cool. I'm right there with you, man. Next up,
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, the enigma of all head coaches. Extremely smart. I keep bringing up Hard Knocks because you get to see insight of what these coaches are like and how they perform in their own building and lead. He is a straight up genius, but he's kind of quirky in a way. And you have players that like Ramsey wants out, right? Tyreek Hill supposedly sometimes wants out, sometimes he doesn't. But Mike is an extremely smart guy, a very smart head coach. But where the hell do we rank him? Is he questionable at this point because of the year he might have, 2 bad years back to back? Or is he above average because he's a smarter offensive-minded guy? What are your thoughts, Mr. Metro?
I'm going to put him in questionable. He's the exact same as Kellen Moore, the same conversation where it's like, great OC, great play caller. I'm not really sure what you are as a head coach, though. And because of that, makes it a little bit difficult for me to put him anywhere but a questionable to – I mean, you can make the argument he's in May I Take Your Order because that's a Miami team that is not heading in the right direction right now.
Honestly, I was kind of questionable. I'm going to go May I Take Your Order if you're okay with it, like you said. I think we put him – is he safer than Kevin? I think Kevin's personally safer. It feels like Mike's kind of in a bad scenario.
Safer in the context of like
if you have a bad year next year, how does it look in 2026? I think Kevin's more safe than Mike.
I agree. Yeah, if the Dolphins, let's say they win like 7 games next year, there's a good shot he gets fired. If the Browns win 7 games, they're celebrating. They're going crazy.
Pop the champagne.
Yes.
Heck yeah. Okay, cool. Good spot right there for Mike. Next up, we have also an interesting conversation. Mike Tomlin, one of the best, most winning coaches of all time in the NFL, but he has failed to adapt over time, it seems. Like he won't change his offense very much. He's a great defensive coach, an absolute amazing leader in that building. And guys, they just win football games, so what more can you say? But they've never gotten over the hump in the past 10 years. Where the hell do we rank him? Because I feel like he's the definition program builder, but he's not evolving and going on runs like he used to.
Man, it's tough. By the way, there's a lot of mics in the head coach. That's 3 straight mics. And I think we're about to get a 4th one soon with
Take a
Vrabel.
shot every time you say Mike, yeah.
I might not be able to get through the video. Mike Tomlin's weird, man. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a great program builder. He reminds me a lot of Dan Quinn, and he reminds me a lot of, even in some ways, of Dan Campbell, but maybe not as vocal, nor as risky as sometimes he could be. It's tough. I would put him... Man, I would put him in above average. I really want to put him in program builder, but, I mean, it's been a while since that Steelers team has been championship contenders, and frankly, I thought that those Le'Veon, Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger teams, they probably should have won a Super Bowl, and they didn't do so. I'm not blaming Tomlin, but I'm just throwing that out there. I'd put him in above average, frankly.
Okay. I think he is, if he is in above average, he's the very top of it. Can I try to argue that he's for program builder, but at the very bottom. Like he's tweening. Can I make an argument?
You can try.
Okay.
My whole thing though is just like, man, that team has been bad lately.
Yeah, no, understandable. But even then, here's my argument, okay? I'll shut the fuck up. That was a little bit aggressive, but here we go. The Steelers, they have winning records 90% of the time in the past, like in our entire lifetime. And it happens because of this man. This team, the Steelers, no offense, Steeler fans, you have you have TJ Watt, don't kill me. You have Cam Hayward, and you have Minka and some other good pieces. But, like, besides that, guys, you got players, but you don't have all pro caliber guys. You have a few stars. This is the man. When it's December and it's January and there's meaningless games to win, nobody's better than Mike Tomlin. And yes, they're meaningless, okay, but he ends with a winning record almost every single season. And I guarantee you half these guys on this program builder do not accomplish what he has in his career. So you could say, now, Cade, still above average, but I think that's my argument for program builders.
I think it's a fine argument. I think you bring up some good points in the context of the things he's done with teams that maybe shouldn't have been there. It's impressive. I think my counter to that would be, yes, you're winning 9 to 10 games, but what you're doing after that, you're getting smoked by 50 in the playoffs. So you're making the playoffs, you're doing fine, you're winning games, but you're typically beating bad teams and some teams within your division because those are always competitive. But I've never, since Roethlisberger's been gone, and even a few years prior to that, I've never looked at that Steelers team, and it's been 8 years now, or 7 years, however long it's been, and I never felt like they were true contenders, whereas everybody in that program builders list, I have felt at one point that they were contenders or that they were going to become contenders. I look at Pittsburgh, and over the course of the last 5, 6, however many years, they haven't been close, and I also feel like they're not anywhere closer this year. So I'm with you. I want to put him in program builder, but I think I can't do it with a good heart given, what he's been these past, well, I shouldn't say what he's been, but what that team has been over the course of the last, 6, 7 years, however many it's been.
I think what you said on that, when you look at the Steelers on your schedule and you don't go, oh shit, you're just like, oh, it's the Steelers. That is a very good argument. Let's put him right here at the top of above average. I tried Mike Tomlin, but we're not in fear of the Steelers anymore. And with that being said, you got to be here in above average because you're near average right now. Next we have, I don't know, I've talked about this guy 10 times. He's on the Patriots. He used to coach for the Titans. What's his name?
Mike Vrabel.
Thank you very much. Another Mike. Mike's just
Another Mike.
Are bred in the NFL. Mike Vrabel has a very good history on the Titans. Yes, he did get fired. He did not get along with ownership. That is a bad problem for Titan fans to have. I'd much rather have him than Callahan at the moment. With all that being said, where the hell do we rank him? It's year one coming off his hiatus of not being a head coach. So we put him in above average. We put him in questionable because he hasn't had a year back yet. What are your thoughts?
I'd put him right behind Tomlin, right behind Mike. He's been to AFC Championship games with Tennessee teams that should not have been there. And I think he's going to do some great things in New England. So, you got to give Tomlin the edge there. I think he won a title, has been really good for many years. And he's been the coach the past, 20 years now he's been on that team. So, I'd put him there. Yeah. I feel like he's just the better head coach than, everyone below him right now.
Yeah. Real good spot right there. And then I honestly, after one winning season, I'm willing to throw him way up here.
Exactly. I agree.
Cool. Next up, we have Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach. Been an absolute whirlwind and trip for him in that position. There was a point last year where we're like, is he the guy? Everyone's mad at each other in week 15. They can't hold the locker room together. And then they win the whole damn thing. So, and he's also like yelling at fans and pretty arrogant and obnoxious. But he wins football games. And the title of his position is head coach, not a kumbaya singer. He just wins games time and time again. Where do we put him? I think he has to be at least a program builder because he won the damn whole thing. Maybe even untouchable, but he doesn't feel untouchable is the thing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, if you tell me Nick Sirianni gets fired by week 10 next year, I really wouldn't be surprised, which is crazy to say after he just won a Super Bowl. And maybe I'm being a little facetious here, but He's in program builder. I mean, when you just won a title, I would say that he's probably top of program builder, but it's just a weird thing where Philly fans, they're really quick to press that button. And I wouldn't be surprised if the pressure mounts. I don't think they will, but let's say it's week 10, they're 5-5 or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if you hear some Eagles fans. They're not going to blame the quarterback. They're not going to blame anybody. It's going to be on Nick Sirianni. And we'll have to wait and see. I mean, my God, after 2023, the year after they made it to a Super Bowl, they were going crazy. And by the way, they made the playoffs that year too. I mean, they lost, but I mean, they were legitimate, we're going to fire this guy and we're going to replace the guy. After, 2 straight years of making the playoffs, one of them resulting in a Super Bowl that, frankly, if it wasn't for James Bradbury, they would have won. So Philly fans are crazy, but he's in program builder to me.
Cool. I'm there with you, but where do we rank him? And I'm going to ask you this question. Ready, Metro? All right. Forget the rivalry. If you had to have a coach for the Cowboys in program builder, where do you eventually say, I want Nick Sirianni? Because that's how we're going to rank him in this list.
That's a great question. I wouldn't want him over Harbaugh, neither of the Harbaughs. Not Shanahan, not Campbell, not OC, not LaFleur, probably not even D'Amico. I'd probably put him right in front of Dan Quinn. That would be probably where I'd go. Now, frankly, I wouldn't want him over Dan Quinn from a personality perspective, because I don't think he meshes with the Cowboys nor the Cowboys fan base. But from a on the field strategy guy, play clock management, so on and so forth, he does a good job. So I'd put him over Dan Quinn right now. But it's
very nice.
It's a toss up for me.
Very, very nice. Probably too low, but honestly, I agree with you. This is the exact right spot. For Sirianni, he could be canned by week 4 next year. Just kidding. But here we go. We have Pete Carroll, now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. He's getting up there in age, but guys, he's a pretty solid head coach, but this is technically his first year back. How do we rank him? Do we put him above average, or do we say, hey, it's been a minute since you've done something at head coach. Are you questionable? Where do you want to rank him, Mr. Metro?
I feel good. He's a good coach. I think, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we're talking program builder, borderline untouchable. Those, what were they, 2014, was it the year they won the championship or something along those lines? Damn good team, and then they were really good for many years there. Not quite title contenders or anything like that, but Pete Carroll kept that team going even though they lost a lot of pieces and a lot of people's pieces got hurt or injured. I think he's a fine coach. I would put him right there with Mike Vrabel. I would say Vrabel at this stage is the better coach, but I mean, you can't deny the resume of Pete Carroll and what he's done in NFL and college. I mean, wherever he's gone, he's been fantastic. Plus, great culture builder. Seems like a great guy in general. So I would feel okay with right in the middle of above average.
Cool. I'm right there with you, man. Right in front of Gannon. Just because we've seen good things, but guys, this is Pete freaking Carroll. Put him right here at above average and go on to our next one. And why am I blanking here? I know this is Bowles, but who is this? Why am I missing out on this?
Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris, the Atlanta Falcons head coach. Where do we rank him? They've been good, with a little bit of hesitation. They've been good and seem like they're trending in the right direction. We'll know a lot this year, I could tell you that. Do we put him above average? Do we put him questionable because we have some thoughts? He's kind of on the same track as Canales, if we're being honest, unless you feel differently.
I think I'm leaning questionable right now, and maybe you might be able to make the argument Canales should also be unquestionable the more I kind of think about it. The reason why I'm leaning questionable with Morris, whereas with Canales I feel a bit better with, is Canales did stuff with a horrific roster, especially defensively, and a quarterback that was struggling. I can't really blame Canales for that. I thought Morris underperformed in a way. I thought he had a better roster around him that should have at least been a 10-win team, but they didn't do so. With the said, though, new quarterback that came in late into that season, the team did look a little bit better, especially offensively during those weeks. So I do think he's trending upward. My thought process is, though, if Morris has another mediocre to bad year next year, I think he gets canned, and I don't think it's really a tough decision. So that's why I would put him below Canales, and I think I would still keep Canales in the back end of above average. But for me, Morris would be unquestionable, but I think you could really make an argument that he's an above-average coach too. So for now, me personally, I'm putting him in questionable. But if you make the argument for above average, I guess I'll hear you out. But I'm just not as confident in him yet.
I am there also with questionable as long as we keep Canales down here. Not to I know this will be his second year, like you said, but we have a lot of questions. We saw a lot of bad in the beginning of the first half of the season. Is this a good pairing right here for you in questionable?
Yes, I'm content with that. Sorry, Panthers fans. Hopefully no Panthers fans saw that and then clicked off and went about their day they put him in above average, and they don't watch the full video to know that we put him in questionable.
Should have watched the full video, man. Actually, shouldn't have. It keeps you happier. Next up here we have. Why don't I? I'm blanking.
Sean McDermott.
Thank you very much, Sean McDermott, a fantastic head coach right here for the Bills. Interesting. I'm gonna do the same thing, Metro. I think he's definitely a good head coach, but how good are we talking? Who would you hire for the Cowboys above Schottenheimer? When you had to rank them through these guys in Program Builder, because he's not untouchable, we know that. Is he just above average? That's potentially a thing. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to say he's in the top of above average. Those Bills teams, man, they've been really good. And I think McDermott's done a fine job, but he's very similar to Tomlin, where there's a lot of people calling for his job, maybe fairly or unfairly. I think he's done some good things, though. I think he's a really solid defensive mind. I think he gets a lot of things done there. But that is a Bills team that hasn't been able to beat the Chiefs and has been consistently outcoached and outplayed by, the Chiefs. They've been very competitive, though, and they've had some disappointments. They've had some great moments. It's above average to bottom of Program Builder. My only thing is that I look at the Program Builders list, and I don't think any of them should be fired, right, anytime soon. Whereas I look at McDermott, and I say, even if that team makes it to the playoffs, if they don't win their division and if they don't have a dominant showcasing in the playoffs, I think there's a strong argument that McDermott should be canned in favor for maybe a more offensive-minded coach. So for me, I struggle to put him in Program Builder, but I would probably put him in above average.
Cool. I'm right there with you. Like you said, you look at Program Builders. I don't want to touch any of these positions, but you look at the Bills head coach, Mr. McDermott, and you're like, we can make a move here potentially. We're not going as far as we should be in the playoffs. So we'll put him here right at the top of above average. And go on to Sean McVay, who is he 1 or 2? I'm just going to cut to the chase because he's definitely untouchable in my eyes. Unless you feel differently. Yep. Where would you rank him?
He's 2. Dude, I mean, just one of, if not the best minds in the NFL. He innovated football for many years. Those early late 2010s teams, like 2016, 2017, 2018, those Rams teams put up some ridiculous numbers. And I think he's done a lot with, at times, not too much. And they won the title with Stafford. And I think that really, that really established him as truly that untouchable guy. The Rams are begging this guy, like, hey, man, you're still less than 50. Just, stay on here for the next 30 years. Like, they're doing whatever it takes to keep this guy, and rightfully so. And I think if you asked every single team, not named Kansas City, who would you rather have as your head coach if they had like a lie detector test on him, of course? Would you rather have Schottenheimer or McVay? It's McVay. Would you rather have I even think the Lions might even go with McVay over Campbell, frankly. If you put a lie detector test on their ownership, there's not many teams that would say no to McVay. So yeah, I would put him in untouchable.
Right there with you, man. McVay, one of the best to ever do it. And that sounds kind of rich. He's only won 1 Super Bowl, but he's been in it a good amount of times, and he's always in the hunt and making something out of nothing. He's an innovator, man. Next, we have Sean Payton. Was with the Saints at one point and won a Super Bowl, went to a bunch of runs as well throughout the playoffs. And now he's on the Broncos, being the head coach there with Bo Nix, and had a very good first rookie year with him there as well. This team's going to be dangerous this year, but we can't let that cloud our judgment. How do we rank him? We put him in above average because he was at one point not a head coach, or we put him here in Program Builder because he's earned that right?
Ooh, I would put him in top of Program Builder. I'm very high on Sean Payton. He's been fantastic for his entire career. He reminds me of like McVay in a sense, in terms of like the way he innovated football for many years. Those Saints teams, whether they were super talented or not super talented, he was just able to get the most out of those guys. Michael Thomas having like 1,700 receiving yards. And those Saints teams that won titles, like they were not ridiculously loaded on offense. Like they were great, but they weren't ridiculously loaded. I think Sean Payton's done a lot with a little at times. And I think specifically last year was extremely impressive with what he did with Bo Nix and the way that he took that Broncos team that the prior year, his first year with Denver, had Russell Wilson and the sky was falling down, to all of a sudden in year 2, turning that team into a playoff team instantly with Bo Nix. And now we head into year 3, and I think there's a strong argument to be made that he's got the best defense in the NFL, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, a rising top 15 quarterback, and they're going to be close to contenders next year. So I think you got to give a lot of credit and, the tip of the cap to Sean Payton.
Well said, man. I think we're going to put him. Personally, I would slot him like right here, right in front of Kevin O'Connell, just because I think he's going to do more in this year than Kevin O'Connell's done with the Vikings. What are your thoughts? Would you put him higher?
My holdup, and maybe it's just the ordering of this, I think I'd put Kyle Shanahan right behind Payton.
Okay, interesting. So we put Shanahan behind Dan Campbell and Sean Payton.
Yeah, maybe it's just my foggy memory, my foggy brain. Maybe the climate's getting to me. It's 90 degrees in Dallas, so give me a break here. But I think I agree. I think I'm going with that. And honestly, I think I might push Harbaugh back too, but we'll leave that there for now.
Who, John?
Yeah, not Jim. I think frankly Jim could be pushed forward, but I'm fine with him there. Harbaugh though, I would maybe put Harbaugh honestly the more I look at it, and again, it's not mattering too much here. They're in program builder. They're in the right category, but
it matters
just kind of looking at it, I would put John Harbaugh right in front of Jim Harbaugh.
A little bit of brotherly rivalry. Okay.
I think he's a great head coach. He's done a lot with the Ravens. But, he's been on that team for years now, whereas Sean Payton's done it for multiple teams, and that Broncos team is going to be damn good next year. Probably not better than Baltimore or anything like that, but he's done it for multiple teams. Shanahan has done it for multiple teams too, except as an OC and a head coach, and I think he's also somebody that completely innovated football. Harbaugh has too, but in his own way. I like Harbaugh, and you can point me in a different direction here. And in fact, I may actually split Kevin O'Connell right between the Harbaughs is what I would do.
Ooh, you know what? I love it. It's perfect. They need something right in the middle. Kevin O'Connell will be the middle brother separating those two.
Yes. They look alike.
Big time. What'd you say?
I said they look alike. They could pass as brothers.
Honestly, they could. Big time shuffle right here in the program builders category. Next, we have Shane Steichen. When I look at Shane, my brain goes okay, he's not the best head coach, but the dude just kind of wins. He looked pretty good in the past year. He's not putting up 13 wins or anything stupid, but we'll know a lot here in 2025. Where do you want to rank him? You want to put him here in questionable? Do you want to put him here in above average? What are you thinking?
I would put him in questionable. He's been in the team now for, I think, 2 or 3 years now, and they have not gotten better, and Anthony Richardson in specific has not gotten better. Although I think he's a good offensive mind, he hasn't been able to put it together quite yet. And one more year of the Colts being a disappointing team, and he's probably a free agent looking for a new team. So for me, I'd put him in questionable. I think I would put him in top of questionable though.
I'm there. Above or lower than Canales?
I feel better about Canales and his job safety, so I'd put him right in the middle of Morris and Canales there.
Cool. We'll put him right there. Next up, we have head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles. Bowles is a very smart, defensive-minded head coach and a great leader. How high do we rank him? Because Tampa Bay has kind of been a sneaky, really good team, making good playoff runs. Damn near beat Detroit in 2023. I just know that because I'm a fan. They look really good and are looking to take advantage of 2025 as well. How high are we putting him? I think he's definitely higher than above average in my opinion. I'm leaning towards program builder unless you feel differently. Then how high do we put him?
Well, I think the career of Bowles has been interesting. his regular season record is actually 53-65. So you wouldn't think that he's really done a whole lot, but won a Super Bowl champion. I think a lot of those bad years were when he was the head coach of the Jets. But his tenure with the Buccaneers has been pretty good. Winning the title with Tom Brady, these past 2 years with Baker have been pretty impressive. I would lean towards the above average range, like right in front of McDermott, just because there's always been like this sort of weird like dynamic of Todd Bowles, and whether it's him doing the job or if it's the OCs. I mean, he's had Canales who got hired. He also had Liam Cohen who got hired. So I guess there's sort of the question mark there of, is it him doing the work or is it his OCs? And I think a lot of Buccaneers fans, it feels like they're not the biggest fans of Bowles, despite the fact that they've been pretty successful with him. So I'd put him in above average. I would love to put him in program builder, but I think we might need like one more year without Cohen, without Canales. And I think if he has another good year next year, I think you can probably make the argument he's pretty darn safe in a program builders category. But for now, I'd put him in above average.
Cool. Let's go with that. And honest to God, these two guys, Todd Bowles and Dan Campbell, you talk about your coordinators potentially carrying your success as a head coach. Both of these guys are in that argument. And how much do they move after this season? Because we will find out in 2025. Finally, we have the head coach of the, who the hell is that? Don't hurt me.
Zach Taylor. I literally had to look his name up. Every time I see his face, I'm like, I know you. I know where you play. I know who you coach. The name always passes me by. Zach Taylor. God, he's an interesting character, man. Like I don't know where to put him.
They look like brothers. Holy shit.
They do. I mean, maybe it's because they're literally making the exact same expression. It's like you typed in on ChatGPT, what would my brother look like? It just took your picture of you smiling and just changed your freckles a little bit.
A little bit of head tilt. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm between questionable to above average. You can't ignore the fact that he's done a good enough job to make it to a Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's also been the questions of like, you can't put him in program builder because that team has gotten worse every single year since that title run. And
it always makes me wonder, like, yeah, go ahead.
It feels like it's a team that's carried by Burrow and Chase right now. And, of course, you got to give him credit for, I want to say he helps them run the plays and does certain things. So you got to give him his flowers. And I want to give him those flowers. But that's a team that just missed the playoffs, right? And outside of that Super Bowl run, they haven't really done a whole lot with, the primes of Chase and Burrow. And I don't want to put the blame too much on him because you also have to blame ownership because they've done a very piss-poor job. Horrible. But I also think that Zach Taylor deserves a level of blame in some ways. So I really don't know where to put him between top of questionable to bottom of above average. I think I lean above average, but I think because he managed that title run, you have to at least give him his flowers there.
I think I'm in the same spot as you, man. Like, it's here or it's here. And just because we're going to know a lot in 2025, like a lot of these coaches, because their job's just always on the line. It's a messed up industry. But our man, Zach, I'm going to leave him right here at questionable because, like you said, they have a bad 2025. Not all of his fault. But he will be in near, may I take your order, tier. So with that, we have to put him in questionable. All of these guys have about a year gap in my eyes. He's kind of on slippery ice. You good to keep him right here?
Yeah, that's fair. I like the way you put it in terms of one more disappointing year, buddy. You're flipping burgers at Whataburger.
Patty melt with extra onions, please. Here is our final tier list. I'm not going to go through every single one, but I'll give you some highlights at the very top and talk about the program builders as well. Untouchable, we have Andy Reid and Sean McVay. Program builders, we have Dan Campbell, Sean Payton. We have our man Shanahan. We have John Harbaugh. We have Kevin O'Connell. We have Jim Harbaugh. The brothers split up right there. We have LaFleur. We have D'Amico Ryans. We have Sirianni, the Eagles head coach. And then finally, Dan Quinn sneaking his way into the program builders tier. Guys, this is our tier list. What did you think? Drop a comment down below what you would change. Also, if y'all enjoyed this video and watched all the way to the end, A, thank you very much from me and Metro. And then 2, drop a like because A, it helps the algorithm out a ton. And then B, we see that and make more... Woof.
You got it.
And B, we see that, like, and also know to make more videos just like this. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. And Metro, get us out of here, man. Say goodbye to the people.
I appreciate you guys watching. Again, hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you guys. Bye.